Making a Tudor gown, part 1. Starting with the bodice, I cut out the pieces in the silver damask that I'd chosen for this project. I decided I wanted to pattern match the back two pieces so that the pattern continued. I just think this gives a really professional finish, and it doesn't take that much effort. Next, I cut all the pieces out in the taffeta lining fabric. Then I started the sewing process. I used small back stitches to give a secure finish. Use a double thread so that the finish is nice and strong. I added in an interlining to give a bit of extra strength to the bodice, then whipped down the seam allowance so that it lays flat, and it also holds the lining in place. For the rest of the seams, all I did was fold in one side of the seam, lay it across the next seam, and then top stitch the two down. This gives a nice secure finish and looks neater on the inside. I use a very small back stitch using double thread for extra security so that the seam is nice and strong. I always use a thimble, but it's even more important when you're sewing through this much fabric as it gets quite thick and it can really hurt your fingers after a while. The final job is the lining, which I fold in the seam allowances as like this, match up the edges and then pin it in place, ready for me to whip down, as you can see here. I do this along the hem, the front edge and around the neckline. The front of the body has a lacing up panel which will be covered by a placard later. Like and follow for part 2 where we do the sleeves.